Welcome to Hits Podcast, Her Intimate Story. I am Andrea, and I am super excited about this podcast. I've been wanting to do it for a very long time, so here it goes. Okay, so I just want to explain to you guys what Hit Podcast is. Again, it's everything women, but the reason for this podcast is to give our women out there a platform. This is not about anything celebrity. It's not anything about people that are known. It's regular women every day having something to talk about, having a platform. It's kind of a form of therapy, if you ask me. So as you guys can see my backdrop, it is an island. That's how I feel right now in that moment. So we're just going to go with it. Her intimate testimony. Today I will be talking about my intimate story. And to just give you guys an update, or to give you guys some background on who I am, I want to talk about pregnancy, because we are women. That's something that we do go through. But when you talk about pregnancy, we want to talk about the loss of a child. I don't want to be too sappy within that, but again, it is conversation. It is a form of therapy. It's an idea for you to get your thoughts and your conversation out there. So we're going to talk about it. Pregnancy loss. We always talk about it when we think of miscarriages. But what happens when you actually birth a child? You see that child whisked off, and basically that is it. No more information. That is my story. So you guys can bear with me because it's a very emotional story. It's actually been 16 years, but it's still fresh. And if you're a parent that's ever lost a child, you know that shit never goes away, right? Those feelings, those emotions, they never go away with time, no matter what anyone says. So here we go. My story, my intimate story. It was 16 years ago. I was pregnant. I think I had to be about 21. Don't calculate my age because I don't like it. And I came to New York because I wanted my mom to be a part of this whole pregnancy situation. When I got here, I think I was 37 weeks and my water broke. I went to the hospital. When I got there, you know, as a young child, you're scared. And I say young child because I was 21. I feel like that's still young. It was late. The nurses weren't very nice. But again, it's a process. After about, I want to say 2 days after my water was broken, which was pretty crazy to me because once your water is broken, you should probably try to deliver immediately. But they did not. I had to end up having an emergency C-section. Gave birth to my son. They said, kiss your healthy baby. And that was it. They took him away. He's premature. In the midst of recovery, I had two nurses come to me and they asked me if, they basically told me that my son was sick and that they had to give him medication. But in order to give him medication, I had to sign some papers. Now I want to give you the scene of what the nurses look like. These nurses had face masks on, as if they were going into an operating room. I was sedated under drugs, and I later found out, you know, being 21, that strike one, basically, because that was illegal within itself. I'm not allowed to sign papers while I'm under drugs, sedated in a recovery room. Anyways, you hear your baby's sick, you want to sign those papers. And that's exactly what I did. Moving forward, the next morning, you know, everybody's getting introduced to their babies. Babies are coming, and my son wasn't there. So I asked the nurse, I said, what happened to my son? And at first, she didn't say anything. And when she came back in the room, I asked the question again, and she told me that she gave me a number on a piece of paper, and she told me to call the ICU because basically my son wasn't going to make it. Once I called them, that's the information they gave me. They said he was sick. They were going to call the pastor, and that they were going to get me a wheelchair to come and see my son. Once I got there, I realized that my mom, she came in early, but she went to see my son first. And as I was going in, my mom was coming out crying. When I got into the room, my son, he was attached to a whole lot of machines. He was breathing, or appeared to be breathing. So I asked the nurse, I said, he's breathing. Why can't he just stay on the machine? She said there was nothing that they could do for him at the time, that he was dead. They took him off the machine, and I held him 10 minutes. He wasn't alive, but I held him, I cried with him, I kissed him, and basically that was my goodbye. Fast forward, my friends and family, they came. When they came, my aunt, she's like this real spiritual woman. So she actually went downstairs. She saw him, she held him, she looked at him, and then she came upstairs. And all my other family, they wanted to see him. I got up all the courage, all the nerves, all the feelings, all the emotions. And if you ever wanted to see a body, you know that you have to get permission from whomever is in charge of that hospital. So we went through the process. We got to go ahead, and we went down there. Once we went down there, in the book, it said Baby Boy Wright, which is my last name. But when they showed the baby, they brought out this baby, the tag on the toe said a Baby Boy William. So everybody got confused because, again, I'm Wright, that's William, where's Baby Boy Wright? There was no Baby Boy Wright. So my mom, she got upset, the family, everybody was in panic mode, like, where's my son? So again, the person that gave us the go-ahead, he told us that they send my child to another hospital for autopsy. Strike 2. You cannot move my son without my permission. I got locked away into the hospital for 2 days to recover. Once I got out, I then had to go to another hospital to identify that body. All right, me and my best friend, we went. I identified the body. Now, they only showed pictures. So they showed the head of a baby in a body bag. And to even keep him from being a John Doe, I had to identify him. And I'm not going to lie, I was confused as shit because the baby that I remember is not the baby that I'm seeing. But again, it's a baby. Babies change, right? Especially he's dead, he might not look the same. Anyways, moving forward, they said that he was going to get the autopsy. They wanted to know why he died. So I said, okay. They said it would take about maybe 3 weeks. So that was February. In March, I called. I told them that I wanted to make funeral arrangements. Well, that didn't happen. They said that my son was buried as a John Doe. So all the process that I went through, and I don't want to keep talking about this, but basically everything I went through was bullshit because they buried him as a John Doe anyways. My biggest struggle now is not getting closure. I don't know if he died. I don't know who Baby Boy William is. I've never actually seen Baby Boy Wright. So yeah, my son was buried at Potter's Field as a John Doe. And it hurts to this day because I feel like I have no closure. I have none. And I have to live with this, you know? Again, my son could be out there alive somewhere, or he could be dead. And I would be okay with that. I just want to know. I actually want to know, is he dead? Is he alive? And why was he born? Like, why was he buried a John Doe when I went and I did all the necessary steps that I needed to do to ensure that, you know, he knew he was loved at least. In some way, I felt like I gave up because it was too hard. You know, everybody was having their own struggles with it. I felt like my mom went through it the worst because she lost weight. She couldn't talk about it. And in some way, I definitely lost a piece of me. At least when it comes to trust, you know, these people were supposed to take care of my son. But instead, I'm only left with questions. And I'm only talking about it because I understand that. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. If my story can definitely motivate someone, that is a goal. And I definitely had to breeze through this whole topic here because it's still fresh. 15 years and it's still fresh. Her intimate stories is just that. Maybe you don't have the platform to talk about your story. Maybe you don't have anybody to listen to your story. I'm encouraging anyone and everyone out there that have a story that needs to be told can have this platform. So, thank you guys for listening. Give your feedback and just let me know what you think.